So there appears to be three main candidates in Oregon running for governor. Three main candidates, and they're all female. So no matter what, Oregon is going to get a female governor. So that's super exciting, right? For feminists everywhere to break that glass ceiling. I'm not for sure if they had a female governor before or not, but you got three women who's running for governor. Tina Kotek, Christine Drazan, and Betsy Johnson. Good old Betsy. Good old Betsy Johnson, the independent. And then Christine Drazan, the Republican. Tina Kotek, Democratic candidate and Working Families Party. So Tina Kotek, I think, is hers to lose. She's also a lesbian, so she might be the first lesbian governor ever. And then, you know, people are talking presidential aspirations. People are talking presidential aspirations for this Tina Kotek. I probably would vote for Tina Kotek between the three of them. But I would listen to Christine Drazan and Betsy Johnson. I would listen to what the conservative and the independent perspectives of, not Alaska. We're on Oregon, which is kind of a different state. They're kind of the same, right? You have Kodiak bears can weigh up to 1,500 pounds. Do you get Kodiak bears in Oregon? And then moose can grow to 1,600 pounds. That's just some Alaska facts that I was like, wait a second. Here's some more Alaska facts that... But we're on Oregon. So here's 40 fun facts you may not know about Oregon. We have a unique flag on the back. So they got a front and a back of the flag. And on the back is a beaver. So on the front, it just says 1859. There's a seal and it says State of Oregon. State of Oregon. A seal with like an eagle and a circle of stars and a sunset and a cow. Looks like there's a cow there. And then a big old picture of a beaver on like a piece of driftwood. Just beavering it up. Just kind of chilling. Just being like George Washington on the Potomac. Right? Oregon state flag is the only state flag in the United States to have different designs on each size. The escutcheon from the state seal on the obverse and a gold figure of a beaver on the reverse side. Breweries. So apparently Portland, Oregon has more breweries. There's your problem. People say, what's wrong with Portland, Oregon? It's not Antifa. It's good to be against fascism because fuck a fascist. Like, seriously. But, and obviously, fuck a fascist, right? Portland, Oregon has more brewery. There's too many pubs, too many alcoholic, too many drunk motherfuckers. You just need to pass marijuana out. Everybody needs to have marijuana gardens, marijuana rooftops, marijuana everywhere. You need marijuana everywhere in Portland. That's my first prescription for Portland, Oregon. There's also more strip clubs in Oregon than anywhere in the nation. Per capita. Suicide is legal. So if you're like, you know what, I was thinking about ending it, but I don't want to break the law. Because if I jump off the building or bridge and I don't end up ending it all, then I'll have to be in jail for attempted. The deepest lake in the United States of America, Crater Lake, is the deepest in the U.S. It was actually pulled in the remains of a volcano. The deepest lake in the U.S., Crater Lake, was formed more than 6,500 years ago within the remains of an ancient volcano. So Oregon's just a bunch of ancient volcanoes. Colorado is so much better than Oregon. The crystal blue waters of Crater Lake are known worldwide. The world's smallest park is in Portland. It looks like it's just a little pine tree. It's a little pine tree. And that's a park. It's in the middle of a fucking intersection. Mills Ends Park. Tiny urban park located in the median strip. It's a park. Where are you going? It's 2 feet across. Going to the park. The first state to ban non-returnable bottles and cans. You can't return those bottles and cans? Get it out of here. No, get it out of 1971. The first state to ban the use of non-returnable bottles. The law is credited with reducing litter, increasing container recycling. As a result, items which used to make up around 40% of roadside litter now represent 6%. Eugene was the first city to have one-way streets and is quoted by Bicycle Magazine as one of the top 10 cycling communities in the United States, Eugene, Oregon. So, all right, we're not talking about just facts about Oregon. We're talking about the governor's race here. So let's get back on track. You got Tina, Kotek, and Betsy. Betsy seems like a firecracker. Christine seems kind of vapid. Let's listen to Tina Kotek when she was the House Speaker, giving the final speech at the 2020 session. And this is before she had white hair. Now she's got this, apparently she dyed her hair white, which, how old is Tina Kotek? Let me actually check this for a second. Because here in this 2020 clip, it's just saying that she's Tina Kotek. Kotek Tina. Tina Kotek, she's 55, so she may have earned her stripes when it comes to having white hair. Maybe white hair is her normal hair color, and this black hair here that she had just 2 years ago is the lie. Which one is the lie, Tina Kotek? I'm tired of these politicians.
The compromise is in the best interest of serving the people who elected us. And still, House Republicans walked off the job. They left the state a full 2 weeks before our constitutional deadline to adjourn, after only 3 bills had passed both chambers this session, and with hundreds of other bills that have won support through our public process being left in limbo. As your speaker, I have taken a very pragmatic approach to problem solving. For the most part, I think we have been able to work together to face each challenge directly and pass legislation, most of which is bipartisan, to make our state stronger. But let's be clear, this is not about any one bill or about being treated unfairly. This is about the corrosion of our democratic process. I'll admit I saw that corrosion more clearly at the national level before I recognized it here at home. This is a challenge.
So Tina Kotek is big on democracy, apparently. I'm not for sure what the point of that speech, where she was going with that, but that gives you the sense of who this lesbian, which I'm totally cool with, totally fine with, totally pro. I'm not a homophobic, bigoted piece of shit. Great for, I'm not going to discriminate. I'll look at your policies. I'll judge you by your policies. And I like Tina Kotek. I like that she's serious. I like how she answers questions. And she's very precise. She's got, a plan. She's got, she seems like the most serious, competent, maybe one. Some notes here. Betsy Johnson said that the farm worker overtime plan, protection plan overtime bill, farm worker overtime bill was overly simple. Something about capping hours, grape crops was highly perishable. Christine wanted to amend the law, absolutely, to amending it. Let organs be Oregonians. Let Oregon agriculture be Oregon agriculture. Just let Oregon ag be Oregon ag. That's what Christine, I think, said. Christine. Basically, they go by first names, right? Christine, let's see, Betsy Johnson, Christine Drazan, Betsy Johnson, and Tina Kotek. Tina Kotek says you must keep the schools open during COVID. So, interesting on their criticisms of COVID. Betsy said it was a mistake to shut down business and schools during COVID. Hell yes. Hell yes. And she really doesn't like Salem, Oregon. She hates the city of Salem. Betsy Johnson's like, and then goddamn Salem. Christine Drazan, with a D. She said it was a mistake to keep the schools closed for as long as they were closed. So she wasn't opposed to them closing, just the length of them closing. She says it was heavy-handed, and then in the end it was an abysmal failure. And then she would have let the businesses stay open and then get these school boards. She would have done things differently. She would have got the local school boards front and center of each of the districts, and then they would have, local by local, figured out their own situations. Now, what's interesting about it is it just seems like one kind of saying, keep the businesses open. And then Tina Kotek was like, you must keep the schools open. So you must keep the government open. You must keep the corporations open. I don't know. I think it was, you had honorable intentions. COVID, we had to work on COVID. But a lot of the heavy-handed, authoritarian, eventually COVID, all those restrictions were going to go away. Biden said it was only going to be 6 months. And here it is 2 years, and they're still talking about it. Tina Kotek said something about shutting businesses down, but giving them more than 2 days advance notice. She thought that was pretty ridiculous. She also talked about being bullish on broadband internet. She's also pro solar, wind, and hydropower. Tina Kotek is a progressive when it comes to energy, clean energy. Betsy Johnson talked about a plywood mill in Elgina. Something about making computer chips and something chips, wood chips, computer chips. Christine talked about freedom, independence, founding fathers. Seemed like she might be a little progressive. Written by Sierra Don McLean. That's where I got all this, of the EasternOregonian.com. There's 36 governor's races in America. Steve Sisolak is running against that one goddamn shit for brains asshole. What was his name? Lombardo. Steve Sisolak versus Joe Lombardo. And then you got the Texas governor's race. Greg Abbott versus Beto O'Rourke versus Delilah Barrios versus Mark Tippett versus Jacqueline Abernathy versus Mark Galobi, the independent. Mark Tippett beat Fidel Castillo. Colorado, you got Heidi Ganahl running against Jared Polis. New York, you got Lee Zeldin running against Kathy Hochul. Alaska, Arizona, Kitty Hobbs Carey Lake. Wisconsin, Texas, Pennsylvania. Wyoming, Mark Gordon versus Teresa Livingston. Vermont, Phil Scott versus Brenda Siegel. Tennessee, Bill Lee versus Jason Martin. So the governor of Tennessee, the governor of Vermont, the governor of Wyoming. I mean, this is all America's talking about. I feel like I go with a 3-month, 3-week, 3-day rule. And I guess the smart, intelligent 10% people have been paying attention to American elections 3 months in advance. 3 months in advance. It's elections one day that basically when you get all the votes in and you count them. That's the real election day. That happens one day. Even if you got written ballots, the election day happens, on election day. So this is exciting. This is what our democratic, nation, republic, our nation state, this is what we're going to keep our, Ben Franklin gave us a republic if we could keep it. So, and even if you had a brand new system, are you going to have no elections and no constitutions and no 3 branches of government? Because I don't like that. No, I don't like that at all. Nevada Board of Regents, 10 years, colleges chairman, Clark County Commissioner, Las Vegas, Steve Sisolak, right? Charlie Pierce, Alaska, Dunleavy, Walker, Les Gara. I like that Dr. Muniz in Rhode Island. I like that Les Gara in Alaska. And I like that Tina Kotek in Oregon. Sierra Don McLean. Let's see, have I said everything, all my notes on this page right here? I have. Okay, so let's take a look at her current look. And then we'll look at the other 2 candidates running against Tina Kotek. Betsy Johnson. Betsy Johnson she looks all dumpy, but it's about her policies, so you got to hear her out. And she quit her job. She was like another official doing something else. So this is KOIN 6. KOIN6 on the record with Tina Kotek, 449 views. Went ahead and subscribed and gave it a like.
Today on Eye on Northwest Politics, a cramped race for Oregon governor. Dozens of candidates lining up for their shot at Mahonia Hall. One of them, former Oregon House Speaker Tina Kotek. We sit down with a prominent Democrat. Plus, the race for District 4. Alex Carlatos, known for his heroism on a Paris-bound train, is getting a second crack at representing Oregon's 4th Congressional District. Can the young Republican win a district held by retiring Democrat Peter DeFazio for more than 3 decades? And a message of hope. Why not Portland, Oregon? Why one prominent Portlander says the Rose City has been given a gift during a tumultuous time. Eye on Northwest Politics starts now.
My God, hurry the up! There we go.
Your path to the governorship, should you win it, is not unusual in Oregon. I'm thinking of the late Vera Katz. She was House Speaker before she became Portland mayor.
She's got dark roots, so she's dyed her hair white.
But in today's political climate,
That's a little disingenuous, because being a silver fox naturally.
Well, I consider myself an advocate. I've been in public service even before I was elected. I worked at Oregon Food Bank more than 20 years ago, working on issues to make things better for Oregonians who were having trouble putting food on the table. That hasn't changed for me. I've been very fortunate to be able to take my skills to the Oregon legislature and do good things to help people in their lives, whether that was raising the minimum wage or guaranteeing paid sick leave when you need to be off the job. There are things you can do in the legislature that are important. But right now, I want to take my skills and be the next governor because it is about managing state government. We need a CEO of the state.
So there you go. That's a little bit of Kotek. Let's take a look at Betsy Johnson, huh? She, I would not vote for Betsy Johnson, but because of her independent status, she's not the Republican or Democrat. She's liked, and I think people will talk to her. She seems likable enough. Some people say she's got a real shot to win the Oregon. I mean, it's a 3-way race. Really, I think in people's heart, there's 4. It's a quadrant, right? It's not just left or right. It's up or down. So you got the left of center, right of center, but you also got the Greens and the Libertarians. So let's take a look at Betsy Johnson. This is... Actually, he's talking about having a real shot. Is it Betsy Johnson or not? No, they're just clapping. Where does she stand in the governor's race on leaving the Democratic Party and running for governor? Okay, maybe. Is this her talking? I think so. KOIN6. Go ahead and skip that. Give that a little like there.
businesswoman, pilot, Lewis and Clark Law School graduate, and now former legislator. Betsy Johnson trying to do something no one's done in Oregon in nearly a century. Win the election for Oregon governor without being affiliated with any political party. Once a Democrat, the former state senator from Scappoose was co-chair of the powerful Joint Ways and Means Committee when she resigned from the Senate late last year to focus on her run for governor. Betsy Johnson, welcome to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Why step away from the Democratic Party for this race?
Well, actually, I've had a front row seat to the problems that the high degree of polarization by the two political parties is creating. I want to put the people back in charge. I just think that we're in such serious trouble right now that people are crying out for a change. I believe that the two political parties are not the solution to our problems. They are the problems. And I just simply believe that in order to break the gridlock that has occurred in Oregon, that having a non-affiliated governor responsible only to the people of Portland, or only to the people of Oregon, is exactly the right answer at the right time. Politics has become so polarized that we have left the people behind. And my candidacy is about putting people back in charge.
Because you're unaffiliated, you won't be on the ballot for the upcoming May 17th primary, but you will need 23,750 valid signatures to be on the November ballot. Will you have them by then, August 16th?
We're going to assume that she has the signatures. So you have Betsy Johnson, Oregon, and let's go with Christine Drazan. And we'll do a part 2 on this. We'll do a part 2. Christine Drazan, Oregon. And let's see what Christine Drazan, Oregon has to say. Here's a full interview, 42 minutes.
Against the wishes of Oregonians. The request that we made was let Oregonians decide. Create this, make it a ballot measure. Send it out, let Oregonians decide. If they advance it and support it, that's fantastic. We understand. But that bill would have harmed the Common School Fund. That bill would have gutted, funding for roads. That bill was unconstitutional in how it was passed, and they cheated the process to move it through. We came to the point where no matter how many flaws that bill had, they were going to take California's cap and trade program and put it in place on top of Oregon's structure in a way that would have harmed far too many people to do anything but stop the conversation. And to be clear, we came back into the state and we said, you know what? Cap and trade was the only bill.
So Christine Drazan is the Republican candidate. She's okay with the water system of prior appropriation, the doctrine of prior appropriation. She's going to keep the water system as is in Oregon. But apparently she's also talking about being flexible and responsive to the local needs, but keep the water system right where it is. See if there's a problem statement. No access to water. That's water laws too complicated. I think that's Betsy Johnson. But okay. Okay, America.